guys went through this in some form a little bit with summer camp last year here in Chicago, but do you expect there to be a lot different in terms of workouts through the early going part here, through the first maybe 10 days because of the COVID process?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of protocols in place. I'm personally pretty happy this year. I feel like, we learned a lot from the 2020 season, what worked, what didn't work as far as protocols are concerned. And we've really, between the Players Union and MLB, the agreement, I think, is pretty rock solid when it comes to player safety, staff safety. There's going to be a few things that are a little more, what's the word for it? Like, given more importance. I think that, some of the workouts are going to be in smaller groups, a lot more on point with like mask wearing and things like that. So I don't think it will affect our work too much. We're still going to be able to get done what we need to get done.
James Fegan.
Lucas, just when did you, first of all, how are you doing? When did you arrive in Arizona, and what have you been able to get about as far as the vibe in camp? And I think you've spoken positively in the past about your early conversations with Tony La Russa, but with a new coaching staff, what have you been able to assess about how things are going to work this spring?
Yeah, I got here last week. It's Tuesday now. I think I got here like last Wednesday or Thursday, just settled in. I want to say met almost all the coaching staff, new faces that I haven't met, Tony and whatnot. And the vibe right now is great. We have some guys here, some guys maybe tested and are still waiting for the results back. But kind of like what I said before, I haven't seen everybody because we're a little staggered. But I met some of the new guys on our team, Lance, Adam. Conversations have been fantastic. I think that, we're going to go about spring training very seriously. Also have a very fun time because our clubhouse is fun. But, get our work done, hit some points as far as bringing the team together and continuing to build the positive culture, turn that into a winning culture so we can go deep in the playoffs.
That was on mute. Vinny Duber, you're up.
Hey, Lucas, how are you?
Hey, Vinny.
Your guy, you've never been shy about kind of saying the expectations that you have for this team year in and year out, and certainly with the offseason additions that were made this winter, the team kind of is putting its foot down and saying what the expectations are as well. When it comes to what you guys are trying to achieve this year, I'm sure there's no doubt about it, but what are the conversations like between you guys?
We want to win a ring. We want to win a World Series. For that to happen, we definitely need to improve in a lot of areas. I think with the player acquisitions, coaching acquisitions, we're already in a really good spot. But the AL Central's no slouch. Other teams have been putting some pieces together as well. So, we just have to stay focused on our day-to-day, what we need to do each day individually and as a team to just get better. And, I kind of touched on earlier, building the winning culture. I think we had the first steps of that last year, but there's still so much more room to grow. And that's what we're intent on doing, is continuing to grow, get closer as a team, play really, really solid baseball, consistent baseball. And at the end of the day, we want to win a World Series. So that's obviously the goal.
Chicago Tribune, Lamont Pope. Go ahead, Lamont.
Hey, Lucas. You mentioned Lance. Just what does he bring to the mix? And then overall, just how good can this rotation be?
Yeah, I think this rotation can be one of, if not the best in baseball. Lance brings a bulldog mentality. Guy takes the ball and goes deep. His track record has been fantastic the last few years. So, and another veteran presence too, a guy that's come from winning organizations. He can, kind of guide the way for younger starters like myself who haven't pitched deep in the playoffs and things like that. And so I haven't really gotten to like sit down and talk with him too much yet. I just met him today, but yeah, he brings a lot to the table. End of our rotation, we have a few options that I think are fantastic. Watching Cease, Ronaldo, Carlos. I've been watching them throw, some light bullpen work, and their stuff looks very, very good right now. I can tell they've been putting work in this off season. So now we just, continue to grow from there.
Chicago sometimes. Daryl Van Schouwen. Go ahead, Daryl.
Lucas, how would you say the sense of anticipation or the vibe or maybe the feel, just from a team standpoint, this spring, heading into spring training is, might differ from the last year or two in terms of expectations, I guess, but just a sense of confidence in general.
Yeah, we're at the point now where, the word rebuild is completely out of the vocabulary. We're a very, very good team, and we expect to win. And so that's pretty much where we're at. I think that, for that to happen, we need to be very serious about our work, which we are, and hold each other accountable. But we have all the like set base levels for that. We just need to continue to put the work in. It started in the off season, and now we take it into spring, have a really good spring. I think a huge part of spring training is not necessarily the baseball, but like in the clubhouse. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but I'm sure we'll be having like skits and stuff like that with the rookies, bring everyone closer together. That just helps with the cohesiveness of the team, sticking through it together, whether we're on a good run or a bad stretch, pull ourselves out of that sooner, get back to winning.
WBEZ, Cheryl Restout. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Hi, Lucas. How are you?
Good.
Lucas, you've established yourself quite a bit the last couple of years as far as being an ace of a team. You had a no-hitter. You got into the playoffs. What type of personal goals are you setting for yourself for this year?
A big personal goal of mine is staying on the field and throwing 200 or more innings. I'm not going to set goals as far as like stats like ERA or wins or anything like that, because I know that if I'm staying healthy, I'm on top of my work every single day, my preparation for every single start, preparation for my body. And I can throw 200 or more innings, then all those other numbers are going to fall right into place. I just want to be that guy that takes the ball and doesn't want to give it up every single start. So, I already have that mentality. It's just time to make that happen and stay on the field.
Is there any concerns about the COVID issues that it may start to stop some games where you may not be able to reach that goal of 200 innings?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing baseball in a pandemic. That's always going to be on the back of the mind. For us, we have to kind of put our trust in the protocols we have set, as well as accountability within the team, player to player, making sure that we're all staying safe and making the right decisions. That's all we can control. So, I'm the type of person where I like to focus on things I can control. If something happens out of our control, an outbreak on another team or multiple teams, like that's just the way it goes. But I'm pretty confident that we're going to have a good season. We'll be able to get through it.
670 to score, Bruce Levine.
Lucas, how you doing? Good to see you.
Great.
I wonder if you can now tell us how Ethan Katz impacts you and how quickly that communication helps turn things around for you when things are going south.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the relationship I have with Ethan. It's been like over 10 years now. He knows me better than anyone else when it comes to, my baseball skill, pitching, all that kind of stuff. So to have a guy like that, not just that, in the off season, working with him, great. I've always done that. But like during the course of the actual season, I have a start, good or bad. I can go and break it down with him. He can give me his thoughts on certain pitches and scouting reports, what's going to work best for me. That's very, very valuable. So I'm very thankful that we have him aboard. I've been putting work in with him in the off season and now carried over to spring, a couple sides, live bullpen session yesterday. And it's been all good. I'm honestly most excited for the work he's doing with a bunch of the other guys.
Can you go into that a little bit and kind of give a couple minutes on what he might bring to the party for them?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan is a very, very hands-on coach. In this day and age, there's a lot more emphasis on development in the big leagues. Back in the day, they usually called guys up when they were ready to compete at the big league level. But nowadays it's a little different. You see teams, calling up 21, 22-year-olds before they might be mentally or physically ready for that level, just to give them a shot and see if they can stick. Having a pitching coach that's very hands-on, that cares deeply about getting the best out of all of his players, is willing to put in the work every single day for that to happen. It's hugely important, especially in this day and age of baseball. And so Ethan is definitely very, very good at that. I know that this offseason, he was constantly sending video, receiving video on FaceTime, on Zoom, with a bunch of different pitchers in our organization, showing them drills, giving feedback, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of like a little taste. And so now I'm excited to see what the hands-on work's going to be.
From ESPN Chicago, Jesse Rogers. Jesse, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Lucas, you mentioned 200 innings. A lot of, I guess executives, maybe coaches have mentioned the innings jump from last year to this year might be an issue, might need 6 pitchers, but I haven't heard a lot of pitchers talk about it. Obviously, it sounds like you don't think it's a big deal for you. Have you guys, pitchers-wise, talked a lot about it, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's not a big deal for me because, like, even though last year, I made 12 starts during the regular season, I threw like 70 something innings. That entire quarantine period before the season, summer camp, even before that, after spring training 1 got canceled, I went home and I was working out every day, throwing live bullpen sessions against hitters, like getting my innings up. Obviously not innings in big league games, but like the workload was there. And so, if you were to like kind of balance it out, I still threw a very good amount of innings, like a lot of bulk last year, even though only a small chunk of it was on the field during big league games. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of other pitchers are in the same exact boat. We all take our jobs very seriously. So yeah, that's just not an issue at all. I've thrown 18, 19, I was 170 plus innings both of those years, and I didn't end the season necessarily feeling tired or anything like that. So I look forward to continuing to log more and more and more.
Chicago Tribune, Paul Sullivan. Go ahead, Sully.
Hey, Gio. For a number of years, the Sox have been in the Cubs shadows. Now it seems like this offseason, the shoe's on the other foot. Do you guys feel like this is your town to take now, and that really you're the top dogs now?
I mean, on paper, I guess so, but at the end of the day, like, we have to go and prove it. We play the Cubs every year. I know that that's a very important series to the city of Chicago. We take that seriously as players. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it because I think that that's a question that's going to be best answered by our play on the field.
Chicago Sun-Times, Steve Greenberg. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Lucas. You have a lot of players, of course, no one more so than yourself, young guys who are ascending. But Jose Abreu went and actually won one of those big time awards. What do you think that'll do just to sort of the dynamic of young, talented guys striving to achieve things, maybe big things too?
Yeah, I mean, Abreu's like a big brother or even father-like figure to a lot of our younger Latin players. The entire team, we've been calling him our MVP for years, and for him to actually, go out and win that MVP award, very much well deserved, was a special moment, not just for him and his family, but like the entire White Sox family. It was, a really beautiful thing. I couldn't say enough amazing things about him, not only as a player, but as a person. I think that it will definitely kind of serve as motivation for some of our younger position players to continue to get after it. Abreu already leads by example. I mean, the amount of work he puts in on a daily basis is just astounding. I know that he has a bunch of guys under his wing, kind of showing them the ropes. And now he has that big piece of hardware to kind of be like, yeah, this is what you get if you work like this. So I think that it's going to be great for our team.
Still have some questions in the queue for Lucas. Vinny Duber.
Lucas, we heard so much last year when you guys were going to the postseason that no matter how long your run lasted, that was going to be really valuable experience for you guys. Obviously, you didn't get as far as you'd like, but what did you guys learn from that postseason series last year that you can apply to your goals for this year?
The biggest thing I learned was, as nervous as I was before that game, like once I stepped between the lines through pitch one, it was a start just like any other. There's no reason to put extra pressure on yourself or think that you have to do more, because, if you trust in your work, you trust in your preparation, then you're just going to go out there and do what you do. That's kind of what I took away from it. I think that for our team as a whole, we were definitely disappointed after, getting knocked out in the first round wasn't what we kind of had in the cards, but that disappointment is only going to serve as motivation for now, I think. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the goal, is just keep getting deeper and deeper into the playoffs.
James Fegan.
Lucas, in the past, I think you had talked about liking Tony La Russa's philosophy as far as approaching the team. Can you kind of delve into what you meant by that, and how it applies to how you guys will be approaching spring training?
Well, we haven't had like a full team meeting yet, so I can't like give you any specific details really. But I think that one thing I really like about Tony's approach is how he really wants it to be a family environment. That he mentioned the word family a lot of times in my phone conversations with him. Being on a team and just being an individual, not really caring about the other people around you, you're only going to get so far. But if everyone in that clubhouse is like a brother and you're fighting for each other, then that's going to kind of pull a little bit more out of you each and every day, a little more motivation. That's one thing that I really liked. Also, as far as like the coaching staff, having that balance of, younger, older, old school, new school. You got a little bit of analytics mixed in there. You got kind of the old school mentality as well. I just think it's a really good combo for like this day and age of baseball. So I'm looking forward to, kind of being a part of it and kind of learning more. If you ask me that question again in a couple of weeks, I'll probably be able to give you a better answer.
Scott Merkin.
Hey, Lucas, you guys had obviously a good team last year, and you could see in the time we had access up until the middle of March, a good clubhouse too. Did you feel like there might have been maybe a little bit of an edge missing to kind of, I think Tim Anderson talked about this recently on a podcast about kind of put the foot on the throat and kind of finish things off. And maybe that's understandable because it was your group's first year moving from rebuild into a contending team.
Yeah, I think that, when we clinched a playoff spot, we might have, I wouldn't necessarily say let off the gas, but it was like kind of like a relief, like, oh, cool, like we made it, we got in the playoffs. And then, we all know that we kind of went on a bad stretch like immediately after that. That was definitely a big learning experience. I think that after last year, we're really going to kind of adapt that mentality TA was talking about, where we need to step on throats. We need to try and kill other teams like until the very end. It doesn't matter what our record is. Doesn't matter if we're in the playoffs, if we're leading the division. That doesn't matter at all. All that matters is that we go out there expecting to win a game every single day, no matter if it's April or September or the postseason. And we have that killer instinct, that killer mentality as a whole. And we just get the job done because, I don't think there's any more room for premature celebration. That's for sure.
Last couple questions here for Lucas. Let's go to Cheryl Ray Stout.
Lucas, for spring training in a couple of weeks, when the games start going, what's it going to be like to finally have fans in the stands, even though it's not going to be a large amount, but you're going to finally have some fans out there?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I missed out on the fans quite a number of times last year. That no-hitter, especially if the fans were in attendance, it would have made it a lot more special. But yeah, I think that for me, there's nothing like playing in front of a bunch of fans, especially White Sox fans that are cheering you on, or even the other side, getting booed and stuff. It's just kind of an extra edge, extra level. I know that like early in the season last year, like opening day and those first couple of weeks, it was a little bizarre. And I know we have to be prepared for that again, depending on the cities we're playing in and whatnot. But I am looking forward to having some fans in spring training. It just makes it more fun at the end of the day.
Daryl Van Schouwen, another one, Daryl.
Yeah, Lucas, Sully mentioned the Cubs, but Chicago's a big sports town, big stature. I'm just curious, do you guys as players think about sort of where you fit in that big picture of the Chicago sports scene, especially now being sort of on the precipice maybe of achieving bigger, better things than you have in the past few years?
I think winning answers everything. I think that, it'd be cool for more people to care about the White Sox in Chicago, but the only way that's going to happen is if we win. I wouldn't say there's too much conversation to be had, because all that's going to fall into place if we win games and go deep and hopefully win a ring.
So we got two more questions before we wrap up with Lucas. Vinny Duber.
Lucas, obviously a lot of eyes are going to be on Michael Kopech this spring. Have you talked to him, this winter? If you have, what have those conversations been like? And what kind of expectations do you have for him after a couple of years off for him?
I talked to him on the phone in the winter. Great conversation, just catching up, not too much baseball stuff. And I just saw him for the first time today at the facility. So, he looks great. Body looks good. All that stuff's checking off. I know that he's been working very, very hard. Despite the decision to not play last year, he definitely missed baseball. He's excited to be back. And the expectations are pretty high. He has some of the best stuff in the league. Unfortunately, last year we only got to see one inning of it, but it was a pretty electric inning. But I think that he has to kind of, move at the right pace. Can't rush into it. Can't try too hard. Nothing good ever comes from that. I think Ethan will definitely be pretty hands-on with him as far as his progression and where he needs to be. And so, yeah, I have full confidence in his ability. And I'm looking forward to having him on the team soon.
And it looks like our last question will be James Fegan.
Hey, Lucas, just to talk pitching for a second, you've spoken a little bit about adding the fourth pitch you're trying to work on. I know you've said in the past you'll never kind of see yourself as a pinpoint type of guy, but are there kind of command goals that you have for the season that you're focusing on? I know you've always mentioned that the changeup is really something that comes naturally to you. Can that guide the way you kind of command your off speed and the other breaking balls you're trying to add?
Yeah, a huge emphasis of the offseason has been command of my slider. I feel like I've been putting a lot of good work in on it. My bullpen session, my live BP session, last couple of days, the slider's been very solid. I think that it's maybe even moving a little bit better than it has in the past. I have a much better feel for it. I'm starting to work on, throwing even that pitch to different sides of the plate. A huge emphasis for me is always fastball command as well. I've really been trying to hone in on that top of the zone command, having that whenever I need it. I think that sometimes my weakness is that pulled heater when I'm trying to go up and I pull it kind of middle or down. So really just getting the muscle memory locked in. Yeah, I'd say that's about it. The downer, yeah, that's pretty much a toy at this point. Trying to develop feel for it. It's a brand new grip. Just going to keep tinkering around with that and see if it could be another weapon I can add in.